Am I back? I might be back. I might be back. Hey y'all, how are you? It's been a long time, 9 months, I think, since the last time I recorded. If you are new here, my name is Alicia. I am a yarn dyer outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and you can find all of my links down in the description bar. But I am on Instagram as APLCraftsLazyDyeStudio, and I need to get rid of my Facebook. I don't know what happened there. I think it got hacked. I'm not sure. I need to take it down. And so I'm not on Facebook anymore. I have a yarn business on Etsy, also called Apple Crafts Fine Yarn, which we will talk about at the end of the video. And Blue Sky, which I haven't used in God knows how long, but I'm there. There's a couple of posts there. Yeah, so anyway, where have I been and what have I been doing and what have I been working on? Well, there's been some changes. I have a mic, and I got a mic because I got tired of the air sound background thing that the phone picks up. And I gotta say, this has been fun. I might have to get a sticker or something. I'm afraid to put this on my shirt because I might mess with the mic and pick up some, I don't know, that scratchy sound. Still in my tank top because some things don't change. Yeah, so what have I been working on for the last 9 months? Mostly socks. Been doing a lot of shorties, which is weird because I don't really wear wool socks when it's hot out, and it's literally hot out in Nashville from like March until November. Not hot, hot, but hot enough that it's like, you're wearing light wools if you're wearing wools at all at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. I've been working on a lot of socks, a lot of shorties. Um, Interestingly enough, I have been getting into more modular blankets, specifically quilt style blankets. And what I mean by that, and I will do some overlay video, is I have been going on Pinterest and finding quilts that are stripes or diagonals, things that would be easy to knit, but I can also just kind of piece together, because I like piecing together knitted blankets more than just making um, a whole entire blanket that is sitting on my lap. So that's what I've been on. I'm working on this one blanket. You may have heard of it, called the Babette, and it's actually a crochet blanket. And this is what actually started the whole thing to begin with. Was I'm scrolling through Pinterest and I see this. I guess this is a schematic, and I was like, I didn't even know it was a pattern on Ravelry to start out with, but I saw this schematic and I was like, ooh. I can do that. And then I found out it was a pattern on Ravelry, did the things, and yeah, I am turning a crochet modular blanket into a knitting modular blanket because it's easy enough. So what I'm doing with this is that I am taking, if you see in the picture, there's like strips of little squares, and then there's big squares and stuff like that. Now, the only reason why I'm sharing the schematic is because it's already available online. The pattern is a paid-for pattern, but the schematic was online. So that's the only reason why I'm sharing that part. And then obviously I'm knitting it, so it wouldn't even matter. So what I'm doing, I didn't even really look at the crochet instructions. So do with that what you will. So that's what started off this whole thing. So I am in the middle of doing that now. I'm about a third of the way through doing the squares. I had to buy more yarn. And what I'm trying to do really with this blanket is use up the red heart scraps that I have. I particularly like red heart for making blankets, especially since I am knitting more for the future and for like my kids and stuff, my adult kids, and whatever, if they end up having families or whatever. Um, Knowing how they are now, I would really rather just um, give them something that they can throw in the wash. I do actually have a couple of wool blankets. If you've been here for a while, you would have seen me do that. Uh, but that's the route I'm going. So I'm kind of going through my scraps and only buying and bringing in more yarn as I need it, because I don't want to have a stockpile of it, because I'm really trying um, to the best of my ability, because it's hard to not buy yarn, but I'm trying to downsize my yarn. So that being said, so that started this whole rabbit hole of looking at quilts and seeing what I can modify and stuff. And I found another blanket style that will use up scraps, and I'll put that picture up as well. And I just started that one the other day. Um, so that's going to be fun. But basically, what I'm doing is I've got a box of just all different kinds of yarn that I'm tired of looking at on my shelf. That's scraps, and I'm tired of looking at in my scrap bag, and just threw it all in the box. I'm like, being random about it as much as I can. Just pulling stuff out. If something looks too close, then, or I think if I feel like there's going to be a section where there's too much light or too much dark, then I will, dip back and pick something else. But I'm not trying to uh, color coordinate, because as you can see from the picture, it's kind of random. So that's what I'm going for. So that's the second blanket that I'm working on. Uh, Man, I sound really nasally. I think my allergies are acting up. um, and then I started picking back up my memory blanket that I'm also doing modular, because the memory blanket is a big blanket that just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I just really don't want to do that. So I've been doing it in quadrants of 4. And I think at this point I have eight quadrants. Um, and I think. Anyway, doesn't matter. But my thought on that is, I have two thoughts on that memory blanket, is whether or not I want to just piece it together so that it looks like the memory blanket, or if I want to do, I'll have to throw a picture up because I can't think of who it is right now. But there's a contrast around each quadrant, and then you piece it together. I have not decided which way I want to go with that yet. I want to wait until I have enough pieces to do either or, which I started this memory blanket like 5 years ago. So it's going to be a while. I'm not in a rush to worry about that right now. Uh, what else have I been working on? Excuse me. Um, I am working on a tank top, the Madeira, which actually I made one. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I think it was the year before. Oh yeah, with Noro merino silk or something like that. And that yarn had a smell. I don't care for how it knit up. So I just pulled 3 skeins of yarn of my own, and I'm making another one, this time different. So I'm doing a split hem. Um, okay, so what I'm doing with this is about 10, 11 inches on the body. I did a split hem, which is not in the pattern at all for the Madeira. I think it's a Barocco pattern. And so basically, what I want from the Madeira pattern is that neckline. But I'll put a picture up. But actually, my necklace is kind of doing that. I don't want to bang it into the mic. I'm still figuring out the mic thing. So yeah, the body's got to be different. I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter than that gray tunic that I did a couple years ago, and yeah, I want to try to work on that neckline, and that's basically all I really want from it. So I did put a project page up just so I could see when I started that project and when I finished it, and then I'll probably change the title because it's not really that pattern. I don't know what I'll do at that point. I'm just kind of trying to keep up with my start and finish time on that. What else do I have going? Oh, here's something. I went through some of my old yarn and I found, oh, the ball band is still here. That's good. I have this old Patton's lace, and it is acrylic mohair and wool. And I was like, okay, I've had this yarn since like 2018, probably older than that. And I have done a couple things with it. Wasn't really happy with the projects, but this one I decided to just kind of wing a wrap. So what I did was I'm just doing eyelets on the edge here for, I don't even know how many rows. It's probably like 15 rows or something. And then a solid part, and then in the middle, same thing. And what I did here was I tried to do like a little gradual going out to the ends of eyelets. I probably could have gone in a little bit more, but whatever. I'm going to do this for about 15, 20 rows and then go back to it being the solid again and then finish off with this. Right now it is almost halfway, probably a third way of the body. So actually, I guess the eyelets in the middle are going to be longer than that because I want it to go across the body before it goes solid again, and then goes to the other end of my arm. So that's the other thing I'm working on. And I do actually have that square blanket. I'm on the third color now. So backtracking. That square blanket that I'm doing, that random color one, I'm making each square 5 by 5 and doing that 13 blocks up, 13 blocks across, which should be, I forgot what that came out to. It was like 70 something inches, almost 70 inches or something like that. So a good size blanket. I will probably hate myself when I get halfway through. I did think about piecing this together like you would for a jelly roll blanket, and there's a free jelly roll blanket from Pearl Soho. So I'm not giving anything away as far as technique, but like you just kind of make another strip and then you do a knit two together to connect them. I thought about that and I was like, you know what? If I do that, it's kind of going to ruin the cohesiveness of what I'm trying to go for with this quilt pattern, and it will look like a jelly roll. And I am going to do a jelly roll blanket down the line, and I did actually save yarn for that, but that's not what I'm going for here. So I am going to have to mattress stitch 13 strips of 13 blocks at some point, probably, a couple of years from now. I don't know how long this will take. I mean, it's just straight up stockinette. So if I'm just feeling like I just don't want to do anything, I just need something that I don't have to put a lot of thought into, you know, I shouldn't say stockinette, garter. It's perfect for that, which is probably why I got that much done in a couple of days. I haven't touched it in a day or two because I've been working on my memory blanket, which is right here, my other quadrant. This yarn I just picked up at Smart Art and Craft Supply in Nashville 2 days ago, actually. This is not my yarn, so. But yeah, occasionally they have hand-dyed yarn for a good price. These ended up being 35 gram batches for $4, which I thought was a pretty good price. So I picked up a few of those. Picked up a couple to put into that square blanket. Yeah. There's things going on outside. I'm sorry. I keep yeah, so that's what's been going on as far as things that I've been working on. So if you want to know about life stuff, stick around. Otherwise, I may be back in 2 weeks if I have anything to show. I can't make any promises though. This is the first time in 9 months I felt like I'm ready to even do a podcast. So, and we're going to get into that right now. So If you were following me last year, I did do some updates on life stuff, and just to give you a quick rundown of what happened before I stopped podcasting. Um, I guess it started January. Uh, my in-laws, my father-in-law and my husband's stepmother decided to downsize. He had some serious health problems that were going on. They lived down a hill. They had steep stairs going up to their house. There was no good way to get into the house without having to go up a bunch of stairs. He had pulmonary fibrosis or something like that, and then lung cancer on top of that. He was not a smoker. It's just the 70s and 80s were a wild time when it came to smoking. I'll put it like that. So he definitely got affected. So we spent, oh boy, from January until May going over there as much as possible, just packing up the house and helping them look for places to move to. And to give you an idea about this house, my husband's parents had lived there for since 1976. So we're talking 50 years and then some, because they brought their stuff with them from however before that. So probably 60 years worth of stuff that never got thrown out. If you've ever gone through that, you know exactly how I feel right now about that. And it just was too much. And then on top of that, his sister is a bit of a hoarder, and she lived downstairs in the basement. It was a finished basement, and you couldn't find a path to walk from going down the steps from the kitchen to the garage area. So basically, when we sold the house in June, they sold the house in June. I just kind of helped them find a realtor. But basically, by June, there was still gobs of stuff in there that we couldn't get rid of. So part of the package was they had to deal with it and throw it out themselves, or whatever they were going to do with it. So that's what happened there. So we had the downsizing, we had trying to find them a place, finally found them a place, got them moved in 2 months before the house sold. And then he was in and out of the hospital because, between falls and having to get his lungs drained and all this stuff. And then August he passed. And that was the last video. I actually have a story about the funeral and that was the last video. And when I tell you that last year was like, you ever like go to a concert, right? Like not a rock concert or anything, but like a classical music concert, and you have like a crescendo at the end, it goes right? That's how my year was. Okay, so we just started off with the downsizing and all that stuff, and then the funeral and stuff, and then after that, I had two cousins die 2 weeks apart, so that sucked. And then we had the whole trying to get my mother-in-law, his stepmother, his biological mother passed years ago, trying to get her set up because she didn't know how to do anything really because my father-in-law took care of everything. So trying to get that taken care of and stuff like that. And then I had a friend who I was a medical POA for, who was in and out of the hospital. So that was going on. And then near the end of the year, uh, that friend was more in the hospital. And then in December, I'm trying not to get too graphic, but um, basically a friend of ours, through circumstances, found him. He ended up going to the hospital. He was unconscious and had uh, basically brain damage from lack of oxygen. And so I had to make a call. 2 days before I had actually I had to make a call, so then we put him on comfort care. Then that weekend, my cat died. I think he had a heart attack. So he died in my arms. And then 2 days after that, my friend that I was POA for passed. When I say last year was a shit show, it was a shit show. I'm just going to be honest. So I wouldn't have been able to have the mental space to podcast anyway. It just was not going to happen. So hopefully this year's better. This year so far, I have to say, it's been mostly peaceful after we figured out the whole memorial service thing and all that stuff and whatever. And I don't have to deal with his home because that's a whole thing in itself. So somebody else is taking care of that. I finally have some peace so I can work on other things in my life, so that was a lot. Anyway, so that's what was going on there. As far as the business, on Etsy, I had at the beginning of April, I had 37 active listings. By May 1st, it went down to 7 because 30 of those listings expired. So there's like 7 up there right now that expire next month. And I moved everything to eBay. So why did I move everything to eBay? Because I am thinking about shutting down. It's I can't at this point after 8 years say that it's a viable business anymore. It never really was a viable business. I just kind of did it so I have something on my resume because you know how these people are, and I'm already middle aged, so they're gonna look at my age and go, "Oh no." So at least if I have something running in the background, I can say that I've done something. I'm still relevant. So right now, um, I've moved stuff to eBay. So if you want to buy yarn for eBay prices, I'll put a link or a QR code or something down here, or my name so you can find me. Actually, that would be easier. I'll put my name down here. It's Chris Paul 97 on eBay. Go get some yarn for cheap. Help me get rid of some of this inventory. So I don't have everything listed up there right now because what I did, and actually what started my business was I wanted to do yarn dyeing for me. Man, I'm really getting stuffed up. Oh, sorry. I wanted to do yarn dyeing for me, and then anything that was extra or anything I didn't really particularly care for as far as colors or something, I would sell. And that's actually how I started my business, was selling that stuff on eBay. Um, and then I decided to make an actual business out of it. So what I did was to take all of my yarn out and everything that I really, really like. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this for myself. Everything else that is like colors that aren't for me, because I'm dyeing yarn with more than just me in mind, obviously, right? Which is probably a bad idea to begin with because I think I did better when I was just doing stuff that was more aesthetically me. But in any case, so the colors that I didn't really particularly care for personally are the ones that I'm going to be listing, and everything else I'm keeping for myself, except for the ones that are still listed on Etsy. Those are going to stay on there when they're done. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the ones that didn't sell that I like, keep for me, and the rest are going to go on eBay. Um, After that, I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm going to make a final decision in September because if I decide to stay with the business, then everything's going to go back on Etsy. Because it's fall season, people are thinking about knitting, crocheting, stuff like that. Um, but if I decide to close, I need to do it then because I need to go through the whole closing process with the state to make sure that it's done, taxes are up to date, all that stuff. So that's what I'm doing there. So again, if you want some cheap yarn, keep checking back. Chris Paul 97 on eBay, and hook a sister up. I think that's all I've got for today. So yeah, I'll probably see you in a couple weeks. I might see you in a month. I will definitely check back if I've got any progress. I'm not going to go 9 months. I shouldn't go 9 months. I don't have a reason to. So I will see you soon enough. And take care. Go make something. I'll see you later. Bye.